Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I will be joined by our colleagues, Representative Hanna, Representative Mert. We are here to pass the Resolution 789, honoring a good servant of our community and our Commonwealth, Dr. Rodney Erickson. These other gentlemen have a few comments. As I thought about what would be an appropriate way to recognize Dr. Erickson for his service, many thoughts went through my mind. I am going to share a brief poem that did come to my mind, and maybe part of it's because of his farming background as a young man and love for agriculture, and more importantly, his love for life. And this is familiar to some of you, but worthy to repeat. It's about greatness, something that we all think we try to aspire to, but have trouble defining. It said, "What is greatness?" a young lad asked as he sat upon my knee. I scratched my head and thought a while, and then it came to me. Greatness is like a flower that grows along a lane. When twilight dawns and darkness comes, its fragrance will remain. Men, and like that flower, my son, when they fade away from view, if their greatness is really great, it will still remain with you. Some of you know that was written by Abraham Lincoln, but I think it's only appropriate for a gentleman whose legacy will continue on even though his official duties at Penn State are passing the baton to now Dr. Barron. I did want to share a couple other comments, and then we'll turn it over to the other presenters. It is only appropriate, I think, for this esteemed body to recognize leaders throughout our community, and Dr. Erickson is one of those gentlemen that has duly really earned this. For editorial purposes, I would encourage you to read the May 2nd Daily Collegian article. It's very well done and in depth and tells a great story of his life and many of those attributes, but I'm going to highlight a couple. First of all, Dr. Erickson and his lovely wife, Sherry, married 45 years, and their son, Jeff, joins us as well. I think it's interesting reading that article. Dr. Erickson is not only the 17th president, but maybe 17 is a number that he needs to think about, as he courted his wife for a total of 17 days, only to go on decades later to become the 17th president of Penn State University. I thought about what words I would use to describe this man who, as you all know, took over Penn State's helm as president in very tumultuous times, under a little bit of turmoil and a lot of scrutiny. A gentleman that could have very easily faded off into the sunset of retirement, and did it quietly after a tremendous, admirable career. The words gentleman speak most to me: humble, thoughtful, and reflective. Especially for those that are young in your career, maybe freshmen, those are admirable qualities I think all of us should emulate in our daily life as well as our professional life. And Dr. Erickson, I personally thank you for that example to me and to all the students that you have taught. Leadership also comes to mind. As you know, his leadership is not only as the president of the university, but was well earned long before that. And I'll give you a couple quick highlights from his military time to the time as a teacher in the classroom. We are here specifically honoring Dr. Rodney Erickson, president of Penn State University, for nearly 4 decades of service to the University of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. 4 decades, tremendous example. Born in Wisconsin and earning a degree from the University of Minnesota and the University of Washington, President Erickson joined us as assistant professor in 1977, it's a long career. And throughout his outstanding teaching research service, President Erickson earned the rank of full professor in both geography and business administration. He went on, Dr. Erickson was distinguished in his selection as a Fulbright Research Scholar of the United Kingdom and a Simon Senior Fellow at the University of Manchester. President Erickson served Penn State in a number of different roles, including the head of the Department of Geography, Director of Center Region for Business Analysis, the Dean of the Graduate School, and Vice President of Research, Provost, and Executive Vice President. And as I said, he was a president, then appointed, but quickly stepped up to the call to serve as the 17th president of the United States, of Penn State University. Well, there was a retirement career aspiration, sir. The last thing I want to point out, and I will turn it over to my colleagues, and it's out of the article. I encourage you to read the Daily Collegian, that one of the happiest times of the year for him is that of commencement ceremonies. If you've ever been to them, and those of us have gone through them or gone through them with our own children, they can be a lot of work and a lot of chaos. But Dr. Erickson, of all the many things he has done in his life, looks at that ceremony as a highlight because he knows the investment of his time and his energy and the importance of the education that these young people have obtained, and that ceremony is truly the gateway to their futures and their future employment. Dr. Erickson, on behalf of the Commonwealth, the students that you have touched their lives, the parents that have entrusted you and your colleagues in educating their children, and as a member of General Assembly, and I think I can speak on behalf of all of us, we truly thank you for your service, both in the classroom, both in the field. We look forward to what you're going to do in retirement, but for stepping up to the plate when we needed you most in a task that most people would not want to do at the time, and that's serving as our 17th president. Dr. Erickson, I personally want to thank you, and on behalf of the General Assembly and this great Commonwealth, we thank you very much. A copy of this resolution will be in a permanent record, and I will turn the microphone over to Representative Mike Hanna and then Representative Tom Mert.